You know, down south here, we rely a lot on our air conditioning during the summertime because it does get very hot. And your heat in the wintertime, a little bit of a winter that we do have. But the thing is you want to be sure that your system is always running properly. And one of the important things is also you want to make sure that your ducts are cleaned out properly. Well, today on the show, we're going to show you, we're going to be talking to Hector Rojas with Hectco Services here in Gulfport and show you the proper way that you should have your system checked. Now, Hector Rojas, the owner of Hectco Services. How are you? It's good to see you.
Nice to meet you, bud.
Let's talk about, air conditioning service. I mean, you've been doing this for a number of years.
20 years.
20 years you've been doing this?
Yes, sir.
So you kind of got it down pat, you know what you're doing?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's talk about, I mean, as you say, you wouldn't wait for your car to get 100,000 miles before you change oil the first time, and you shouldn't wait to really service your air conditioning system. You really need to do it on a regular basis.
Right. You want to do this on a regular basis because at least once or twice a year. Mm-hmm. We offer a twice a year service on getting your system cleaned and getting it ready for the summer and the spring, and in the fall for the winter. Today we're going to talk about getting it ready for the summer. Okay. We're going to start about cleaning out the coils, the outside coils on your unit, and it is important to get it very clean because not only you can clean it from the outside, but we have a tool that we can go inside with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike, and let's go ahead and get it started. And we can clean the inside as well from the inside out and push all that dirt, whatever is built up inside the coils. Yeah. We can push it on out.
Now, a lot of people think that they can just take a water hose and wash it off and it's fine, but that's not true.
Well, no, because see, you have dirt and stuff that gets hung up on the fins, and with the system that we have, there's water coming out, spraying out. It's going to push it on out, and then we come back with the hose and rinse it out real good, get all the chemicals that we put in there and clean them up and get them out good out of there. That is the way we're cleaning it out from the inside, and then we'll show you how we clean it out from the outside in to the system.
Then you start on the outside.
That's right. Then we're going to go ahead and get the outside cleaned up. This is a special tool that we have, and it already has the chemicals inside within the gun. So as we're shooting the water in it, as you can see, there's going to be some chemicals coming out, and as it's spraying it out, it's going to be cleaning. Then we come back with the water hose, just to rinse everything out, anything that is left over in the residue. We try to get it out of there, so we don't
leave any kind of chemicals in there.
Leave any kind of chemicals inside the coils.
And then, of course, we'll move on to checking out the electrical system.
Yes, we'll go on to check out the electrical system, and we'll show you.
So after we've washed it out, then you've got to start checking out the electrical system and everything.
Right. It's very important to make sure that we're getting a good reading on our motors, your amp reading on the compressor. Make sure that the contactor is not pitted, is not making false connection. We've got to make sure that all the connections are good and tight, and making good connection to the capacitor.
It'll cause shorts if you don't.
Oh yes, indeed. It will cause any shorts or anything like that. But you got several components in there, electrical components, so we want to make sure that they're all working properly. You want your equipment to be as efficient as possible. So it'll save you money in the long run with your electric bill.
That's
very
right.
important. Right now it is so high.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yes.
And then again, of course, you check out the Freon and everything with your meters. Make sure that everything's reading properly and that you got enough.
Correct. Yes, sir. And then from there, we'll go over, and then once we make sure that everything is working properly on your electrical components, we go and check your all of your Freon pressures, your high side, your low side pressures. We're going to make sure that we got proper refrigerant pressures in the unit.
Okay. And then we're going to move inside and show you what you need to have done there.
Correct.
Okay, so now we're in the attic. What do you do with the system up here?
Well, we cleaned it downstairs, and remember that the outside condenser works in conjunction with the unit inside your house.
Okay.
Right now we're up in the attic, and there's a unit that I want to show you. Very important. Once we get on up here in the attic, the first thing we do, we want to blow the drain line out and make sure that there's nothing that is any kind of obstruction on your drain, on your water because if there is, then you're going to end up having problems if it overflows the pan, or if it goes into the secondary pan and the secondary pan overflows, then you're going to have problems in the house, in the
Yes.
ceiling. You don't want that. You don't want no more expenses. But we want to keep your unit efficient. So we come out here, we clean out the drains, and then we're also going to inspect the evaporator coils.
Okay.
Once we inspect the evaporator coils, make sure they're clean. If they're not, then we'll point it out to you. Look, this got to be cleaned out. If it's got to be taken out, we'll take them out and wash them out as well. Then from that point on, one thing I like to point out, there is a float switch. Mike, show me what the float switch is right there. There's a float switch that goes on the secondary pan. That float switch is very important because if that secondary pan gets full of water and you get the drain gets stopped up, that float switch will automatically turn your unit off. And obviously you're going to end up having to call a service company.
Right.
So the whole point about all this is to come out once or twice a year, clean out all your drains, your unit. That way we can prevent for moths to coming out and you to have another bill
Big
over
expense,
there.
yes.
Another bigger expense later on down the road. And also, while we're up in here, we also going to be inspecting your furnace. The furnace part, as you see it on the right-hand side, Mike, let's point the furnace out there. You got your gas valves if you have a gas furnace. We also have the heating chambers on that side up there. We make sure that they're all cleaned. If they're not clean, we have to get all the debris or trash or whatever builds up in there. And then make sure the whole point is we got to make sure that everything is in good working conditions. Your fan motor, we also clean your fan motor. Your squirrel cage, we pull them out and clean them out as well.
Okay, and got about a minute left, so we want to talk about your duct system real quick.
Yes.
Y'all do the cleaning out of that too.
We do clean duct systems. But one thing I want to point out on the ducts, a lot of the older houses, the insulation, especially if it is a metal ducting that goes up through there, there is insulation, and here's one that I can point out to you, like this one right over here. You see all the insulation that goes over. You want to make sure that it is properly sealed, that none of that insulation is rotted out or anything like that, because what's going to happen if any of the unions comes loose, you're going to end up having air blowing up in your attic.
And you don't want that.
You don't want that. You want to cool the inside of the house, not the outside of the house.
All right. Well, Hector, thank you so much for that. If you'd like some more information, you want to schedule an appointment with Hectco Services, give them a call. The number is on your screen, and they'll be glad to come out, check your entire system out here and make sure it's running right for you so you'll have a nice, comfortable, cool summer.